In education, we learned a lot about social identities. Social identities are something I knew a bit about before this class, but I never fully understood what they were until recently. Everybody is different, and there are many reasons for this, but it's your social identities that really shape who you are as a person. All your different identities work together and intersect, and they create something unique. And that's why they're so interesting to examine. Now that I know this, it's all I think about when I'm walking around looking at people on campus. Some identities you can see, but a lot of them you can't see. And that's why you can never judge someone based on what you can see. If more people took the time to get to know one another before judging them, we'd live in a much better world. I think that's something that everyone needs to realize, and it's the first step towards total equality. If you ask me, the time is now to take action, stop discrimination, stop oppression, and implement equality.
This class really opened my eyes to what I was being naive to in my own life. I was easy to notice when my subordinate traits were being emphasized, such as being a woman and being oppressed, and not as easy to complain when I was given privileges for my more dominant traits. This class was really an incredible opportunity to grow and open my mind to the fact that there are real problems between race, social classes, and other identities, and I really do believe it should be required in colleges, especially at this age and with all the discrimination and issues that are still very prominent in today's society. For my own identities, I am in mostly dominant groups, but being a woman, I do find myself having moments where I feel discriminated against. With this class, I realized that I can't be okay when I'm in a dominant group and, then not be okay when I'm being discriminated against. I think it needs to be more equal. And I believe that our generation has the opportunity to push for equality. And I think that's definitely something that this class has opened my mind to.
I identify myself as female and Asian American, which is great because being Asian American kind of gives me like this dual perspective on things. Um, and be more aware about the issues that are going around. Um, Issues regarding sexism, racism, oppression, vice versa. Um, yeah, because basically I think it's pretty conveniently awesome that I decided to take this class this semester because this is the semester that had a lot of racist acts that have been going around on campus and on the news. Yeah, which goes to show that racism is still a huge, important, ongoing issue and needs to be addressed. Like, in my opinion, I feel like taking a class like this is basically saying, hey, I want to get to know you better and respect you as an equal human being. I don't know. I feel like being educated about these things allows us to basically agree that everyone's different and that we should embrace these differences because they're not going anywhere. And there's always that saying, normal is boring. So, yeah, this is me. Okay, bye.
Oh, hey, I didn't see that. What I've learned from embracing diversity, or what I think that I take away more than anything else, is some of the notions behind white privilege. Before, I'd never really thought about what it was like to be a minority at college, but now I can see how easy it is for a lot of people to make snap judgments, assuming that they might have been accepted because of some special program and not on their own merit. And I don't know, it just makes me feel really bad that there are people who come to those conclusions so quickly before even talking to people. And it seems like in the 21st century, there isn't room for just this overwhelming ignorance that continues to persist here on campus and throughout the country.
Taking education, embracing diversity has changed my mind and has transformed my mind about a lot of things that I really did not expect to be thinking about now. I now think about social class and I think about gender and racial equality way more than I ever have before, which I'm very thankful for. I've really realized how much change and how much fixing needs to be done in society and even on campus, but the course has also made me really want to get involved and really want to see the change, be the change, make change myself rather than watching it happen from the outside. And I just really want to get involved because of this course. I've realized too a lot about myself that I didn't think about. I didn't think that I was being oppressed as a female or that I was privileged because I'm white. And now I think about all of these things and I'm really thankful for that.
The movies played in class were really interesting and informative to me. Being an Asian American who has experienced racism growing up, I felt like the color eyed activity for the children at school was really relatable, and it's a good way to teach children at a young age that people shouldn't be treated unfairly due to their appearances. The movie Higher Learning was also really relevant to everyday life that college students experience and highlighted important points about things we don't consciously think about every day. So, after writing the reflection and reading articles for this class, I felt that being educated about racism is really necessary because it affects the community as a whole. The less educated people are about these topics, the less aware they become and more likely to suppress others. I think education class should be mandatory for all students because it really reminds us about the golden rule. It's treating others the way you want to be treated, and our actions and identity are always connected. College should always be a enjoyable, safe place for students where one can be him or herself without being looked down upon. So, oppression definitely impacts the way one views themselves within a group of people. Students try to fit into society, whether it is socially or academically, and culture is a big part of everyone's lives, and no one wants to be discriminated. If oppression affects a person negatively and defeats their confidence, it will definitely show, and that may hinder them from being as bold and outspoken as other people. The Civic Engagement Project was also really encouraging for students to actively help others. I had to spread awareness about affirmative action for my personal project, and before I didn't know much about affirmative action, but afterwards I realized there's a lot of unfair issues that occur around us. For example, there's unfair labor rights for DC workers, and I think being involved is a good thing because we can set examples for the future generation to learn from.
I've learned so much in this class, but what I think the biggest thing that I've learned was that, regardless of how far we've come, there's still such a long way to go. We as a society always talk about the strides we've made, but then things like what is occurring in Ferguson go to prove that more has to be done. I think that if there were more classes like this one all over the country, we would probably see a huge change in the dynamic of our culture. There were certain aspects of my identity that I wasn't even aware of. But I'm so thankful that I'm aware of them now. I think that is the true essence of this class. We all have to be more aware and conscious because none of the problems we have discussed in this class will ever be solved by ignorance or not taking action. Our inaction is what allows discrimination to not only persist, but to grow. I think that another thing that is important for us is to be aware of the identities we can't see in others. It's important for us all to have respect for each other, especially the people we hardly know. I think that is a great rule to live by, and it's not to categorize people because of how they seem, but just because they're people, and we all deserve respect.